Hi everyone, today I'd like to show you my teacher planner. I decided to make a mini version of a binder for my teacher planner because I've used large binders in the past and they just got too heavy once I put everything I needed inside. So I thought I'd try a smaller version of the large binder that I usually make. So on the cover here I just have some paper from Michaels that I used, and I cut out a little piece here for a name tag, and then this is just washi tape on the side here to make a little design in the middle for where my name would go. So when you open up the planner, the first section I called business because I really didn't know what else to call it. It's kind of all of the things that have to be recorded that don't necessarily have to do with the daily interactions of the students. So the first thing I have is a school year calendar, and on here I want to keep track of my days off. You know, sometimes I forget what days I call in sick and for the purposes. So I put a little key here on the bottom. I have ST for self-treated, PER for a personal day, PD if I'm sent somewhere for professional development, and PS if I'm asked to work extra or if I stay extra and get what's called procession for that day. So these are the first 6 months, and here are the second 6 months of the year. The next section is for passwords, for all of the passwords that I'm going to be keeping. We get so many passwords every year, and I'm always scrambling to find out where I wrote it down. So I'm hoping that by putting the sheet in here, I remember to note it inside of this book. My next section is for a seating chart. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to arrange my room yet, so I just have a piece of graph paper, and once I have my room configuration all set up, then I'll go ahead and draw in my tables and write down the students' names on my seating chart. So I just have a couple of sheets for that. Okay, we then come to the parent contacts. I have a page for important phone numbers where it has the student name, the parent name, and the phone number. I usually don't have to contact everybody's parent, but there are a few students who I have to keep in contact with their parents on a more regular basis, so I'd like to have their numbers in here for easy reference. Okay, the next section is the parent call log. I put this in here, I'm sorry about the shadow. I put this in here just to keep a record of the phone calls that I do make so that I can go back and say I called a parent on a certain date at a certain time and I either spoke to someone, left a message, there was no answer, or the phone number was invalid. I also will fill in the reason and any conversation or follow-up that needs to take place as a result of the phone call. I'll put it in here so I can just keep everything together in one place. I also have a progress report of sorts. This comes out in between the formal progress report, so it gives the kids a chance to make up whatever they're lacking or to improve upon the things that they're doing well. This first column, they're negative behaviors in a way, like, positive. This first column is positive, completely up to date with their work, always prepared, does well on classroom tests, you know, things of that nature. And this side are things that need to be improved. Is missing homework assignments, does not stay on task. So these are the things that the students can work on. It's good to give this out before the actual report card because then there are no surprises once the report card gets there and the parents feel like you've given them a little bit of notice to make those improvements. Okay. I also left some space for meeting notes. I just put in blank sheets of lined paper, and I can add paper to this section as needed. Okay, this is the heart of the planner. This is the calendar section. Again, the divider's made with paper from Michaels, and I just laminated it. Okay, this is the school year calendar. I found this little quote that I liked. Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. And I thought the picture was pretty, so I included that. Okay, here's an overview of the year. I can do a number of things with this section. I can put in student birthdays. I can put in the units that I'd like to cover, the projects that will be due each month, or whatever portfolio pieces the students are required to hand in. And then I have a notes and to do for the month. Here is the month on one page. It's more to see what date certain things fall on, what days of the week certain dates are, and you can put in, the boxes are not that large, but I think it's enough room to put in a school trip or a special event that might be going on. Okay. I just put in a couple of things for my first week. I did not put in the dates for this. Let me take the page marker out so you can see the spread. I have the months across the top, and then I have the days of the week with a little circle so I can include the dates. And I teach 2 subjects, so I have the line going across the middle. This will be for one of my subjects, and the bottom will be for another. And here will be things I'd like to accomplish during my prep. I also put notes on the side of things that are happening that week that I'd like to remember. I can also put down things that need to be copied, or meetings that I need to go to, or phone calls that I need to make for that particular week. So here's a blank spread. And each month I have tabbed at the top. So here's October, and I changed the colors for the different months. It's November, December, I put red, obviously, and then we have January, and so on, all the way until the end of the school year in June. So that's where I'd put an overview of my lessons. Now, most of the time, my lessons have to be more detailed, so that's where I come to the lesson plan section. Here on this, I have a pull-out school year at a glance. This shows me in one page all the teachable dates that I have. Everything that is only a white box, I know I can go ahead and plan a lesson for. This helps me with my pacing calendar, and it also helps me to see what days we're not going to be in school, what the short weeks are, what the full weeks look like. So this is very helpful to me when I'm planning for the year. And I just punched holes in the second half of the page and put a little slit in here. This is a piece of cardstock, so it's a little bit thicker, and I'm able to just fold that back in there pretty nicely. Here's where it's a generic sheet for my lesson plans. It gives me the focus question, the learning task, materials, any vocabulary that I want to go over. The do now, up here is also the standard that I'm covering and the title, the name of the unit. I have my launch, which is the beginning of my lesson, the explore, what the students are going to work on during the lesson. On the next page, the summarize section, where we go over all the important concepts, how I'm going to differentiate, what the homework is, and how will I assess that they did indeed meet my objective for the lesson. So this is very generic. I can use this for both subjects that I teach, which is math and ELA. And it's just a skeleton of my outline in a little bit more detail than I would be able to fit on my planning pages. This is a summary of what I would put here. So I have a few sheets in here for that I can always add as needed. The next section is assessment. And here's where I'm going to keep track of their homework assignments. I'll put the date and put their math homework on here and their ELA homework on here. This is for the first day of school, complete math form, reading survey, and bio poem. So I just keep track of the assignments on here for this section. And here, once I get my class roster, I'll put in my student names, and I'll be able to keep track of their homework assignments, put in their tests. Now, I saw that it was small, so I did include a full-size sheet of paper that I would take out when I'm grading or checking work, and then I'd be able to just put it back and keep everything together in here. Again, I punched holes in the side over here and then cut little strips so that it tucks back in here nicely. And for the different marking periods, I just use different colors to distinguish them from each other. So that's my assessment section. The next section is for standards, and I made a spreadsheet. I had some student names on there from last year. I didn't put in the new ones yet, so I just covered those up. But I teach math, 6th grade math, so across the top I've listed all the different standards that we have to cover for the math program. And as I feel the students are mastering the standards, I'm going to go ahead and keep track of that in here. So this would be ongoing assessment, just making sure that each kid is hitting the different targets. And I paper clipped it so I wouldn't show anybody's scores or anything. Okay, in the back I have sheet protectors, and in the first one I have a conference form where I just have the date, name, what I discussed, and what are the next steps for the students. I didn't put lines here because I figured some conversations are shorter than others, so I would just draw a line under wherever I left off. So that's a few conference sheets in here. And here are the sheets that I like to use for my daily assessment. I put my daily goal at the top, and then I walk around as the students are working on their explore section of the lesson, and I just jot down names of students that I feel I may have to reteach. Students that understand it, but they definitely need more practice. Students that are almost there, just with a couple of more probing questions, or maybe one more discussion. They will be there. And here's for students that have mastered the material and they are then ready to be able to explain it and possibly teach it to someone if they have to. Here I'll put any other notes that I need to make down here. On the back of these sheets, I put the next steps for each of those students. What the novice students need to do, apprentice, practitioners, and the experts. And then I just have a couple of extra sheet protectors back here for when I get my schedule. And there's also a pocket in my little binder for any of the notes or papers that I'd like to slip inside of there. So that's basically it. This hopefully will work out. I guess I'll update you if it doesn't. I think it should. I put everything in here that I use on a regular basis. I've been teaching for a while, so I pretty much know what I need. And hopefully this shouldn't get much heavier than it is right now, and it's portable, so I would be able to carry it to and from school without much of a problem. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.